What's up, everybody? It's your favorite second, third, fourth string leader's favorite nerd. Today we are looking at Masterpiece MP-24 Star Saber. We're going to do it today. I'm not sure what's the best way to go about showing you this, so I'm just going to try to fiddle my way through it. This figure was supposedly a fan's choice kind of a thing, and it's a very obscure choice. It's from the Japanese. I'm sure you all know this or don't know and don't care, but you know, fairly obscure. It's not a character that you're going to recognize at a game of Pictionary, let's say.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go! Okay.
R2-D2. Chappie.
C-3PO.
Voltron.
Was that a GoBot?
Transformers.
Optimus Prime.
Johnny 5. Wasn't that one?
Yeah.
That unit from Power Rangers.
Whoa!
Why has he got a big junk? The Megazord.
Iron Man.
Something Tron. Star Saber. Star Saber.
Who?
Star Saber.
Nobody knows the hell that is.
He was the leader of the. Oh, it was Japan. Doesn't matter.
We're going to start here because I can't find a way to store these two items in vehicle mode, and then when he's in robot mode I can't find a way to store where this goes and replaces something else, but we'll build on that, okay? So unfortunately in vehicle mode these have to be set off to the side as far as I can tell, and I may very well be wrong. So this is the little Brainmaster, I believe that they were called, and I'm not even sure that we're gonna. There he is, and he's pretty well detailed. I mean, there's a lot of face detail. The visor's painted. There's a lot of paint in this guy. Unfortunately, that's where most of the paint is. But it looks to be a solid blue plastic, and then this black, red, yellow, white is all painted on top of it. We got a swivel here at the shoulder, a swivel here at the shoulder, and then a swivel at both hips. Nothing for the head. He's teeny tiny. That's Daniel. You know, he's not even the full size of Daniel. So he is a little fella. Now, the question is, where does he go? He can go in this unit. Now this is the Saber, the body, or the I don't know how to describe it, but this is the middle bit, right? And this is very well done. I like this a lot, this mode. Landing gear, and they flip up. Oh well, I guess I'll show you. Rolls like a champ. Plastic wheels. They do flip up, you know, into that kind of a look. And these wings articulate mainly for transformation, but if you wanted to do something more stylish with these back here, you could do so. We got this gold chrome here that is going to be a constant fingerprint kind of a deal, but cost of doing business, I suppose. It is somewhat unfortunate to me that, like, they have the L, I'm not sure if you can see it, and they have the R, and they have it on these wings as well. Like so that the factory folk can realize which wing is which when they go to assemble it, but it's like on the top instead of on the bottom, which to me is fairly, you know, the wrong choice to make in this circumstance. Outside of that, we got some good color breakup, has some weight to it, it feels solid, looks clean underneath, very cool. I'll flip the landing gear back down, and then we'll you know, if you can get your nail right up in there and then pop it open. Some decent paint underneath the canopy, but nothing on the consoles or anything. That would probably be a little extreme. And then we can fit our little, okay, let's put his arms. And he's in there, which is cool. All functional, all everything works appropriately. You can even get these to move a little bit, these little bits, if you know, just if it makes sense for you. And then we're gonna bring in the big boy. So here is this big mamma jamma, and I'm just going to try to show the features. This thing's so big it's hard to manipulate, so to speak. So these come open. You got to pop out this front bit though, because the tab is just not well designed. So I'm afraid I'm going to break this little skinny tab at the top there, and then flip this up. Inside there is yellow missiles on yellow plastic, not a lick of paint, which is very unfortunate, very ugly, very unsightly. I would never show it ever in a million years. So close that back up. This is die cast. Also, something else I don't understand is this is a red metallic paint in there, and then this is a red kind of a matte, more so on the outside. Actually, it's just not even a matte, it's just red plastic, and then that's red metallic paint in there. The bolt gun, listen to me, the gunmetal paint on these die cast things here are really well done. Really well done. Up here is another one of our issues. So because of the molding of the head, and then these these things are supposed to sit out to the side, but they are pushed forward by just the physics of it all. I guess you could fix it if you wanted to. He's never going to be in this mode in my house, so I'm not going to go through the trouble. Maybe T2RX6 can show us at some point. The gun can plug in here, and the gun itself is a single cast, not a lick of paint. Actually, it's not a single cast, it's two pieces screwed in there, the swivel for different holding reasons, which we'll get into, and that can plug in right up here. There's these two things here that open up, and they store the swords, which we will talk about later. And then, let's see, on the back there's some die cast in here. I can't tell about those. And die cast in here, die cast there. Let's see what else. There's this this thing here that plugs in that we'll talk about later, but that stores all nicely. But nothing stores 100% on this unit, which is unfortunate. So also the landing gear, which we'll get to, is here, and it does roll, and then this all flips up, and we'll show that off here in a minute, but just to show you the landing gear. And then it rolls fairly well, which is nice. Now let's move this out of the way, and we'll fix the middle bit to go in. So pretty simple. Fold these wings down, and then fold these wings up. Let's try to combine the two. And what you do is you open up these little wings here inside the chest. That gives you the clearance, and then push this button down here, which operates this little mechanism in there, and hope and pray that we don't look like an idiot as we try to do this. And that's that. So there it is, quite massive. Trying to give you a good look. It is pretty cool, you know, like just it's overwhelming in size. Let me see if I can't get you a comparison. So there's Masterpiece Starscream. So I'll tell you what, I'll even take him off of here. You know, so he's a little bit longer and just girthier all around. Hope you can see that. I can't really see what's going on. So then to utilize another portion of him, fold his landing gear up, and then fold his feet up. And then fold these bits, landing gear up and down. And let's get his stand. The stand attaches right to the pelvis of the bot, where the yellow bit is. So like that. Superjet mode. Not hateful. Not the way that I would display it. It's kind of really got to be your thing, I think. But the likeness is on the money. So I'm gonna break them down and get back to the red jet. So now you're back to this point. Open up your cockpit. Get your little fella out. Close the cockpit so you don't break it. Pull this piece off. It just comes right off. And fold the wings back. Bring the arms up here and then down. I guess you gotta open this up, bring his hand, and then this accordion's out. Same on the other side. And that's done. And then for the legs, I love the how the kneecaps like pop up as you bring the legs down. It's just, that's a very masterpiecey kind of feel to me. And then bring the feet down. And you're almost in service. So I had to cut because this part can eat you up. I think I finally found the fix of it. Make sure it's the white part up in there. So you open up this chest piece. It's the white part up in there that you want his head kind of underneath. So if you bend his back, his torso back just a taste, and really make sure that it's up underneath the white bit, which I don't even think it is there. And then close up, you'll have it. You'll have it on the money, no problem. Let's talk articulation. So, head, swivel. So, that's okay. You know, not optimal. And I'm guessing that has a good bit to do with the gimmick. Shoulders, you can get them to hinge down a bit, right? And then they hinge up. And you have a very visible soft ratchet. I guess it's a hard ratchet actually for your rotation there. Bicep swivel, elbow hollow, forearms like a mofo, and wrist swivels. Same on the other side. No waist swivel. Hips, you have a thigh swivel at the top there. Nice hard ratchet. Forward, nothing back, but, I mean nothing to the side, but you can do kind of a side here, and then move the foot to kind of cheat, but it just isn't quite right. So, that's slightly unfortunate. I don't really care for that much at all, and I don't necessarily see why they had to, maybe I do. Actually, I know I do. Okay, and then a knee on a nice ratchet there, a soft ratchet. Actually, it's hard sometimes, soft sometimes. Very bizarre. So it's just, ooh, I don't know. I don't like that. And then another swivel here, and then you have a little bit of an ankle tilt, no rocker. So articulation is not the best, but you should be able to get some decent kind of poses out of him. And then let's get him accessorized. So you take off his nose cone, and then that parts forms back onto as a shield. So I guess it's not really parts forming, it's the weapon, but yeah, just by it comes off, and then you fold that down, and then that clips on. There. Then you take this, which is plugged into the underneath, I think I showed, the big mamma jamma, and you take this, and I showed you where that was, and you insert, and then, oh, I forgot his fingers. So his fingers are on a single hinge there at the base knuckle, which I'm okay with. And there. Gotta finagle it in there. But once you got it in there, should be good. Holds them both like a champ, so no problems there. Real quick, almost forgot two things. There he is next to a Voyager. So a little shorter. And he can hold this gun as well by rotating this. And just finagling it in there like that. And he can hold that gun. Alright, so let's deal with this. Close these, fold that, close these, fold that. You want to make sure that these are disconnected from this piece here, and then make sure that these are not separated, are separated rather. And then this accordion's up, locks in, same on the other side. There you go. Bring these feet out and around, and then you see this possible bit of business here. Make sure that's flush. Alright, let's raise her up. Extend the elbows. You got to make sure that these are lined up properly also. So that's a common sense thing that you'll be able to figure out on your own for sure, because it won't work otherwise. Bring this backpack up and plug it back in, and you can go ahead and bring this sword out now. I will say that also on the swords where it was cut off the sprue, they didn't sand it or anything, so when they chrome over top of it, it's just a little rough there on the edges. Now let's get the other guy ready to go. Fold the arm back up. And collapse. Same on the other side. Collapse. Bring this down. Peg the legs together. Oh, you gotta slide those up a bit. And then, actually, let's keep this open for the time being. And look, I got paint chip right there, and it's coming off. Anyway, that's him ready to go. I did do this a little prematurely because you got to have access to this button here for combined mode, so to speak. So press it in, insert in, hope for the best, ladies and gents. There it is. Thank goodness. Close that up. Get that ready. Okay, so last thing to do is you use this here, this little lever, and then it sits the, I guess we can rotate these, be careful. Rotate those. That'll come down, and then mine already did it automatically, but it's not supposed to, but then you can just let that go and pull that back down. And there you have it. Let me get his ears to the side. We'll bring his backpack back up. We'll get him cleaned up and take a look. You got these ears, and they do articulate, to get you the look that you want for your Star Saber. Head is on a swivel at the base, and then the head actually does have a little bit of an up and down before the neck starts coming off, which is nice. Shoulders, ratcheted swivel, and they do hinge up as well, so that's nice. Bicep swivel, and it also acts as a double jointed elbow, so that's actually pretty smart. That was their way of getting around like the size and bulk and still giving you the articulation. Pretty clever. Wrist is on a swivel and a hinge, which is nice. The abdomen actually has a crunch to it, just a little bit, but I'm not going to complain about that. Arm articulation is identical on the other side. You can obviously articulate these wings, you know, a little bit depending on the look that you want. And the waist has about a 10-degree maybe swivel, but I don't think you need a whole lot more, but it is unfortunate that you don't get that extra bit. And then the hips are on universals, ratcheted both ways. The clicks between ratchets in and out are a little too big for my liking, which has I've already noticed some trouble when I'm posing him, that he tends to want to do the splits a little bit on me. Knees are on a ratchet, and the ankles do tilt and hinge, or tilt and rock a bit, but enough, you know, to kind of get you the stances you want. To build the Star Saber, you take this piece, you open that up, you open that up, insert the blade. It has a more of a fat and a skinny end. Make sure you have them lined up properly. Insert it in, and then close it the best you can. It's on this double hinge, so if you play with it, you can get a very streamlined look. Open that up, and then this swivels down. And then I think you can close it all back up. And that's for the single hilt. To apply the longer hilt, you just open these back up, swivel that back around, and then you slide this inside of here. And then you have the longer hilt, and you can close everything back up, which is the way that I will have mine. Pretty cool. And then for the shield, this is the stand that we talked about earlier. You just slide this middle bit out, and then slide this in, giving you the nice Autobot bit on the front, which mine is a paint chip. This he can hold like that, but it doesn't look great. It looks small, it looks out of proportion. I don't think it's even intended to be used with him. So let's get that out of the way and store that on his back. This sword, obviously, he won't be using, so let's take that out. Open up this compartment again, drop the sword down in there, and close it back up. His sword, on the other hand, he can hold. And the tension is really there at the top finger. I don't know if I went over the finger articulation, but they're all at the base knuckle, and the index finger is individually articulated. And then he also can hold his shield pretty much the same way. Unfortunately, it seems that this and this will have to be stored in the box if you're going to keep him in robot mode, like I imagine most of you do. Now, I've seen people put him next to Optimus and Ultra Magnus and Rodimus and all that kind of stuff, and that's all good, because you probably have him with your leaders, and that makes sense, and I get it, but you guys have seen that before. I just wanted to put this in perspective a little bit. He's taller than Maketoys' Quantron, so he's a big mamma jamma. Finding space on the shelf is going to be challenging. So I like to kind of do this whenever it makes sense. He weighs in at 1 pound, 8 ounces. Or let's say 9. Quantron weighs in at 1.9, so they're about the same in weight. And the Takara Masterpiece Grimlock is 1.3. So final thoughts, here's the problems. There's a lot going on, and I just don't feel like any of it was done perfectly. So the more you start adding on to it, the kind of further away from the goal it gets. It's not that I dislike it. I like it. It just seems like there could be more to it. It's hard to put into words because there's a lot of intricacies going on. There's a lot of thought, obviously, involved in this. But at the end of the day, this right here is what has to work. And like if you look at his right leg, that's as far out as it goes. You know, so posing, dynamic posing and stuff like that, that's not really that much of an option. You know, he's going to be looking stoic on your shelf, and that's okay. But, you know, it's an expensive figure, and it's a premium figure, and I just don't know if it's up to Masterpiece standard. You know, Ultra Magnus and then this, and I'm like, ooh, maybe we should get back to the smaller scale figures. It's just that magic that you kind of get with Wheeljack, and, you know, even with Soundwave, and even with Laserbeak. It's present here in weird ways, you know, like with the Brainmaster going up into the chest cavity of the smaller bot, and with the knees of the smaller bot. Like, that's really where the magic is. And then this is kind of like big, bulky, and underwhelming is kind of what I have to use to describe it. And I hate to keep kind of griping on about the negative, but there's hardly any paint. A lot of places where the paint is, it's already chipping, it's already wearing. There's imperfections in it. The combining parts they're not easy. You know, not that they have to be, but it's not smooth, which I think it should be. But for all the bad things, there are some really positive elements. Like, he does look the part. He does have a presence. He does make a statement. I don't think that you will ever need another Star Saber figure ever for the rest of your life once you have this one. It is, in my opinion, the definitive representation of the character. I don't foresee a better one being made by anyone in the foreseeable future. I think this is as good as it gets. I'm just not sure for a guy like me who doesn't have a strong emotional attachment to this character, if this toy is enough to make me fall in love. I think that if you do have a strong emotional attachment to this character, you're going to be a lot more enthused. But for me, I was kind of like, and there it is. I think that, like, the fact that they use different color plastics to break up the color as opposed to more refined, intricate paint makes it feel a lot more like a children's toy, just in aesthetics, than like a collectible grade figure. It's just that when it comes to the bulk of him, he just doesn't present as well as he's made. Does that make sense? I think that's the key. I think that's what the phrase that I was looking for. He doesn't present as well as he's made. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care.